Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm Belinda Wasser from the Virtual Assistant Connection. And I just want to wish you a happy Tuesday. It's a kind of a rainy day here, so I've got my tea already. And I hope you guys will grab a cup of tea as well. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you for the next hour, answering your questions, and getting to know you a little bit. So I had a couple of people ask questions in either with a private message to me or in the event. So I'm going to start with those questions, and then I'd really invite you to pop your questions into the comments, and we'll get every single one of them answered. Before we get started, let's talk about the VA connection for a couple of minutes, because right now we're broadcasting on Periscope and also on our YouTube channel and 3 different locations on Facebook. So if you're not familiar with the Virtual Assistant Connection, it's a community on Facebook. We're just about at 9,000 members, which is so exciting. It's a very strong community. The people inside help each other, and it's for people who are already VAs, who are thinking about it, and it's wonderful because everybody's at a different spot. You know, I've been a VA full-time for 10 years. Other people are still in jobs and thinking, you know, maybe I want to go out on my own and do this. And so we welcome people no matter where you are in your journey. Absolutely. So, okay, let's start with the first question. Let me just grab that. Let's see, it's right here. All right, so Twyla Wheeler asked me, when first starting out and you're really not sure what your niche is, what's the best way to market yourself? That is a great question, very rich question. And as we go along, like I said, I like this to be really interactive. So let me know if you have questions about my answer or, you know, whatever you're thinking about. Okay. So when you're not sure, when you're just starting out and you're not sure what your niche is, really what you want to do is, so I'll tell you why I'm thinking, why I'm kind of struggling with this for a second, or thinking about it, is when I started out, my niche was what I like to do. What it turned out to be is what I like to do, and then more specifically working with solo professionals. So solo professionals are people who work on their own, like marketing consultants or financial planners or nutritionists, or I have clients who are speakers, you know, authors. But the thing they all have in common is they all work for themselves, and they all need the kind of administrative support that I like to do. And the way that I marketed myself was really just as the list of services that I offered. And then what happened was the niche kind of revealed itself. And I think that happens a lot, that the niche reveals itself over time. I have heard people, and myself, I have done this as well, you know, trying to think of that avatar and who am I going after. And while I think that's important, I think it's really hard to know that in the beginning. You know, if we target women-owned businesses in the healthcare, you know, space, while that's really great, I think it's hard to do. I think it's harder. So let's jump up and answer, and I want to answer that a little bit different way. So the way that I grew my business was by staying in touch with the people that I already knew. So I grew an email list, I grew followers on social media, and I have a whole system for getting clients, which I'm happy to go into. But what I did was I stayed in touch with the people I knew. I talked about the services that I wanted to provide, and then the people who needed those services were attracted to me. And I honestly have never gone out looking for clients. Now, I network, absolutely. I do an email newsletter, absolutely. You know, those are the ways that I market, by showcasing my expertise and just really being friendly and approachable. And what has happened as a result is, for the last 10 years, 2 or 3 new clients have found me pretty much every single month. And we've decided to start working together. So it's really more about being authentic about what you like to do. For example, I do social media for a lot of my clients. I don't write it, however. I'm not comfortable writing social media posts for someone else. My own, I think it's fun because I understand the content. But for people who are, like, I have a client who's like, she's an attorney and a nurse, and she writes about healthcare law. There's no way I could do her social media posts. I have no idea. However, what I did do is I created a grid for her, and I linked, I put in the grid all of her, the links to her blog post. I created a section for her to put her content. And then once she did that, I was able to put it into Buffer and schedule it. So that's the way that I could support her. So I don't know if that answers your question, Twyla, but drop more follow-up questions or comments and let me know, because I'm happy to go further on that. So while we're waiting for some other comments, let's talk more about how to get clients. All right. So, and one more thing, a niche, like I said, a niche will probably reveal itself over time, but don't be too worried about having to find it, because I think it will find you. I really think it will find you. So getting clients is a big question that a lot of people have. How do I get them? So I'm going to go further on this topic that Twyla brought up about niche and how to identify who you want to work with. So the first thing that I did when I started my virtual assistant business 10 years ago was I built my website. And I thought I wanted to work with startups. Turns out I did not want to work with startups. And that became pretty clear pretty fast, but it didn't matter. All I really did was change my tagline. And that was kind of it. So that was the first step. I built my website. I listed all my services. The second thing I did was I got really clear on how to talk about my work. So that people that I knew could refer me, they could remember what I did. And that is probably one of the most important things for someone who's just starting out, or really if you've been in business a while, for you to do. So the way that I recommend that you do that is 2 sentences. I am a blank. I'm a virtual assistant. I specialize in fill in the blank. So what I say when people ask me what I do is I'm a virtual assistant. I work with solo professionals and I help them with all the administrative back-end pieces of their business, like updating their websites, sending out their email newsletters, and scheduling their appointments. I have a million things that on my services page. It's grown over time. In the beginning, it was much, much shorter, but I've learned 10 years, right? I've learned a lot of new skills. So what I did was I had them all listed there. But I mentioned the skills that people generally know what they are, right? Everybody knows what scheduling a meeting is. Everybody knows what sending out an email newsletter is. And everybody knows what updating a website is. And the truth is that that's exactly what most solo professionals need. So I came up with that way of talking about it because I wanted people to say, oh yeah, I understand. And sometimes I think we get kind of fancy about it. And we use language like I empower women entrepreneurs so that they can get back to the work that they want to do. And the problem with that is that I have no idea what that means. So I understand that it's a very heartfelt description and that it means something to whoever's saying it. And I think the intent is really good and really strong. But I think what happens is if someone says that to me, I have no idea, because the way that you could support a woman entrepreneur is like a million things. You could bring her lunch, so she's takes care of herself so she can do her work. You can update her website, or you can create a website for her. You can do her bookkeeping, So by giving people really concrete answers, I think it goes so far, really far. So that's one of the first steps. So I'm going to take a sip of this tea here. I love black tea. It's really good. So, all right. In addition to that, some really easy things that you can do are check in with people. If you're just starting your business, or even if you've been in business for a while, you could say something like, so you send emails one at a time. And I know a lot of people are not using email. They have their mommies on text and their friends, but I would encourage you to try to get back into that channel of email. So if you can get email addresses for the people that your relatives, people you used to work with, you can look for their email addresses on LinkedIn and other places, and send them an email just checking in, saying, hey, Joe, how's it going? You could say, I just thought of you, or you could say, I was just organizing my CRM, now that I've started this new business, and I thought, holy cow, I haven't talked to you in so long. I thought I'd check in, and then tell them 2 or 3 things that are going on. Like I would say, Emily's back at college, the pandemic, we've been okay in the pandemic. I moved to Connecticut a few years ago, all in all, things are going really well. I'd love an update when you get a chance. So that's a way that you can check in with someone, kind of let them know what you're up to, but not sell them. I'm not a big fan of selling. I'm a big fan of letting people know what you're up to, so that when it's time, when someone says to them, a friend says to them, hey, I need some help with, X, Y, or Z. The person they ask says, oh yeah. I know someone who can do that. Hold on, let me just think of her name. And then before you know it, you're talking to them. So let's jump to the next step. Another step would be to set up 30-minute free consultations. Now, in the beginning of my business, Calendly and Acuity and Time Trade either didn't exist or I didn't know they existed. So when someone wanted to get on my calendar, they'd email me. And that worked fine, except there was a lot of back and forth, and I felt like it was taking away from my billable time to schedule meetings with people who may or may not be a good fit for me. So what I did was, on the bottom of my website, on every page, there's a little box and it says, schedule, what does it say? Free 30-minute consultation, talk to me, it's all about you, your business, sign up here, something like that. And what happens is people get on my calendar, and that has been also a secret weapon, because they get to get on my calendar in the moment that they're thinking about the work. So imagine I have lunch with Michelle, or I talk to Michelle on the phone, and she says, you really should have worked with Belinda. Her business is Rocket Girl Solutions. She goes, she sees, my picture on the homepage. She sees the description of what I do. She looks at my services, my pricing. And in that moment, when she's feeling like, oh yeah, this could be good, she schedules time with me. And then it's a done deal, right? She doesn't have to think about it the next day. She doesn't have to email me. What is she going to say? She doesn't have time. Her child just interrupted her. She's on my calendar. I get notified. She answers a couple of questions in that calendar invite, how she found out about me, what she'd like to talk about. And then I just show up for the phone call or the Zoom call, whichever they prefer. And we talk about working together. So that's been a really great thing too. Looks like we have a comment. Let me just check on that. Thank you. So this Facebook user says, I love how you're able to keep it simple and not overcomplicate it. I feel like I overthink everything. Overthinking is a really dangerous thing because it wastes a lot of time. So let me tell you something funny that happened. Maybe this will help. So, all right, where was that? Oh yeah, okay. I bought a new computer Sunday. It's really cool. It's in my dining room right now, getting set up, and I'm downloading everything because I want to be able to keep working and stay billable while that's happening. And so probably on I don't know, maybe Thursday or Friday afternoon, when things are I can hit the pause button. I'll make the switch over, but for right now I'm on my old computer. So here's the story. So I went into look at computers, and I was looking at new computers out of the box, like you just buy a computer that's, on the shelf, or they have a department where you can create your own computer. And the guy who was working there, his name was Daniel, very helpful, 18 years old, smart, and definitely knew all, what was going on with computers. However, I got overwhelmed and I decided to go the build your own route, because it actually wasn't that much more expensive, maybe a couple $100. But the truth is my computer is never turned off. I am at my computer pretty much all the time. Like I work and then I spend time with you guys, and then I, do research. And so it's what I refer to in my family is these 3 screens, and this computer is my money-making cockpit. So I am committed to having a wonderful computer. So I, picked everything out. So here's the point I'm trying to get to. Sorry. The point is that Daniel was saying to me, we configured this computer and it was way too expensive. And it seemed like it was like 4 times as much what I needed. And while that's really cool, I know I don't need that. And I don't want to invest money in something that's beyond what I need. Now I'm thinking out 3 or 4 years with this computer. It needs to last 3 or 4 years. And that's typically what my PCs, their lifespan before I start to get frustrated and things don't open and I'm restarting and clicking and blah, blah, blah. So, but I don't want to get, he was showing me this. It was so much money, you guys. I couldn't even believe it. But what he said to me was, well, if you want to go home and think about it, and let me know. And that's the moment where you can overthink or you can just decide. So what I said to him was, and the store is 30 minutes from my house. Okay, so I do not want, it's like, and I can't go again until next weekend because I can't, the way my life is structured, I can't take 2 hours out of my day to drive there because it's a half hour each way and then time in the store and then, blah, 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 blah. So I said, no. I have all the information. I said, all the information that I need is here. We just need to make a decision. So that's the question that I'm trying to get to. I wrote about this at one point. When you're overthinking things, figure out what other information you need. Because usually it's either you need nothing or you need 1 or 2 things. And once you identify them, go get the information, right? And once you have the information, then you can make the decision. And then I have another rule in my brain that helps me with this. And that is, unless I get new information that changes something in a dramatic way, I don't revisit my decisions. I'm moving on to the next thing because I want to accomplish a lot and I'd like to get stuff done. But going back over and over and over, it's not that helpful. So here's someone saying, that a Lakers fan, it looks like his computer is still like new at 11 years. That's awesome. I'm wondering if you have a Mac, because I've heard that's true. But I was running out of hard drive space and I've got a lot of stuff in the cloud, but it was just getting really inconvenient. That was mostly it. It was getting inconvenient. And so since this is my primary tool and I use it all day, I decided to get a new one. So what other questions do you guys have? This is so good. I hope you all are drinking something good too. So let me think about what kind of questions people ask. So definitely getting clients is a huge one. Definitely getting clients. And in addition to the keep in touch email, a newsletter is definitely a way to go. So when I started out, I got my my website launched. I started with keep in touch emails, and then I started publishing my newsletter. And I published it every 2 weeks, which is a lot of work, but I was able to grow my email newsletter list and get my business to the place where, like I said, clients were coming to me. What would happen is I would meet someone somewhere at a networking event, ask them if I could add them to my email newsletter list, and if they said yes, I would add them. And when I added them, they would get, they would continuously get my newsletter. So my newsletter has my picture, hopefully a useful article. I have a section called Things I Can't Live Without. So it shows a little bit of my personality. I write about my chickens or my Alexa or, my lemon squeezer or something like that. And what will happen is they'll get on my calendar using my free 30-minute consultation. I don't really know who they are. I might be able to find an email, where from like 5 years ago, this has happened so many times, and we'll get on the phone and they'll say, I've been thinking about hiring you for a year and I'm ready to get started. Do you have room for new clients? Like, how good is that, right? So that's what an email newsletter does for you. In addition, it creates content for your website, and it also creates content that you can use on social media, driving people back to your website. So if you write a newsletter, you're going to have all kind, 4 or 5 quotes that you can pull out of that and use over and over and over. So it looks like somebody's drinking cold coffee. You had a conference call before this. Cold coffee does not sound good. I'm not a big fan of coffee anything, but definitely tea. I have to say the thing I like the most is Diet Dr. Pepper. It's kind of a little bit of an addiction, and I drink it and then I quit, and because I don't think it's good for me, and then I drink it again for a little while. But today I'm having tea. All right. Another way of let's see. Here we have a question. So do you do newsletters over blog posts? I actually do both. So here's what happens. I write the newsletter and I send it out to my list. The reason I like email newsletters is because it goes in people's inboxes. And even if they don't read the newsletter, they see my name. So there is some acknowledgement, of seeing my name. And if you provide good content, you'll have a nice open rate. Because people know you. You're not doing any spam. They're all opt-ins. And it really isn't Dr. Pepper. It really is a good way to get in people's inboxes. Then what I do is I post it on my newsletter, on my website. I actually do that as part of the process. So the second that the email goes out, it's already on my website for people to find. The next step is I take the link on my website of the blog post, which is the newsletter content, and then I'll put that on Facebook. And I'll put it on my personal profile and my Rocket Girl profile and maybe the VA connection, depending on the topic. So what I want to do is I want to take that content, because it's not easy to create the content, and I want to stretch it, right? I want to get squeeze as much out of the lemon as possible. So I put it on Facebook, and then what I'll do is I'll put it on LinkedIn, and there's a couple ways you can do that. You can publish the whole article as an article, the whole post as an article on LinkedIn in the article section with your image. And if you do that, I recommend putting a little bio at the bottom. You can look at mine and see how I do that. It's very simple, a couple of sentences with a link to subscribe to my newsletter, because I'm always trying to drive people back to that newsletter, because once they're subscribing to my newsletter, I have permission to get in their inbox, and everybody's in their inbox, right? Because that's where a lot of things are happening. And it also, once that happens, typically, we'll be on Facebook together and Instagram and things like that. So it goes on LinkedIn. We just started Instagram last week. I've been kind of a holdout on Instagram, but I decided that we're going to have a VA connection, presence on Instagram. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 posts up there right now. And I've been doing HGTV, which has been kind of fun, using the Rocket Girl Show information. And that's an example too. So the Rocket Girl Show is, I do a newsletter, The Buzz, right? Every Monday morning for you guys. And that's where the ideas for the Rocket Girl Show come. So the newsletter goes out, it goes on the VA Connection blog post, it goes all over social media, because you guys see me on Facebook, right? It gets posted into our group. Some of those posts in our group are 2 years old, but it's still accurate information. So, those go there, they go on LinkedIn, they go on Twitter. So I'm really squeezing that content out and sending it. And then, and then it turns into the Rocket Girl Show, maybe, 3 months later. So you'll notice that there's so many ways you can use it. In addition to that, you can do a reprint. I did that for a client this morning. What he likes to do is take his article, I put it in a Word template with the newsletter header in the header section, then put a bio at the bottom, and then create a PDF, and he gives it to a sales team. So what they can do is say to people, here's the reprint of our last newsletter. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I just, and again, getting into people's inbox in a very personalized way. All right, so I want to tell you, I want to talk about this for a second, and then I want to jump over to a different topic. So let me get you this right here. Let's see. Okay, so earlier, well, let's see. I want to talk about an easy way to do the newsletters, okay? And I did this on purpose. Hold on. So the VIP club, here we go. This, I don't have the URL. Okay, but I'm going to get it for you. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to tell you. The VIP club is a private membership that is a subset of the Virtual Assistant Connection. It's $35 a month, and there's a ton of stuff that happens in there. Right now, if you sign up for the VIP club, here, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to just show you the page because it's going to be easier for me to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the page that tells you all about the VIP club, all right? So one of the benefits, I'm going to just scroll down this really quickly and talk about the newsletters, and then we'll get to the other pieces, okay? And I'll tell you about it. But if you want to do newsletters, here is the deal, all right? So as a bonus, if you sign up right now, this is also available. Some people have just purchased it for $4.97. You can do that all day. But what I want to talk about is this is a full course that I created earlier in the year. It teaches you how to use MailChimp. It gives you the template that you need so you can actually bring the template into your own free MailChimp account. You literally click a button, log in, and accept the template. It gives you step-by-step instructions on how to grow your list, how to import your list. It talks about all those things that I just mentioned about using the writing over and over and over. And so this course is available as a bonus if you join VIP. So literally for $35, as long as you're an active member, you have access to this course. The other thing that I did, because I know that the writing is really hard and I know from experience, so I created 12 email newsletters that you can use. They're in the course, they've been professionally edited, and they're ready to go. So essentially, you do this course, on a Saturday morning, you get your MailChimp all organized, get your contacts all set, and import the template, put your picture where my picture, goes, and update it so that it's yours. Verify, you need to verify your email address, stuff like that. But you can get going with the newsletter in a weekend. I've just made it super duper simple. I will talk about the other things about, let's just see, there's another comment. Let me just check real quick. Okay, good. So let me just tell you a little bit more about the VIP club because there's much more to it than the email newsletter course, but I want you to know the other pieces. So let's get right to it. So we have live calls twice a month. We all come together on Zoom. The questions are usually submitted ahead of time so I can make sure that I'm ready with good answers, and they're recorded and they go onto the membership page. We have a forum, which is a private Facebook group, and I'm in there all day long. And the community there is amazing. It's very tight knit. Everybody knows each other. It's really fun, and your questions get answered right away. We have accountability challenges twice a year. We're just finishing one up right now. And what essentially people make a goal, cheer each other on, and it's finishing on Friday, and we're going to have a big graduation ceremony with a really fun present. I'm very excited about it on Sunday. We also have the Vault. The Vault is where all kinds of webinars and resources go. And here's just a sample of some of the topics you can see here that we've talked about, like how to find really good clients, productivity tips, how to use Buffer, LinkedIn, what to do about your profile. So lots of good information here. And then there's a 25% discount on the newsletter course and my debit card course. However, as you know, the debit card course is the newsletter course is included. And then the other thing is I have on a pretty consistent basis, not a flood, but a couple a week maybe, people email me. It happened. My cousin from Arizona emailed me last night and said, "Hey, you know what? I just heard about someone who wants to get a VA. What can I, where should I send her?" And I have a link that I send out, and people fill out an application for the job that they want filled. And those go into a special private password protected area. And our VAs in the VIP club have access to those. And then again, the newsletter system. And then the other thing is access to the Rocket Girl show. So you all probably know that I do 2 live short videos every week, and all of those go into this Rocket Girl show vault. And there are probably, I think there's almost 90 of those now. So lots of good information. And like I said, you can join for $350 for the whole year and get 2 months free, or you can join for $35 a month. You can cancel anytime. And then we have a couple of one and done lifetime members. So if you're thinking about sticking around for a while, that might be a good way to go. All right, so let's get back over to the questions. I will stop sharing this now. All right, so here we go. Okay, good. My pain point is that I'm growing kind of fast. Excellent. I started a month ago, and I'm afraid I will get more clients than I can handle. What scares me is that I started a month ago and something is working, right? That's good. Okay, so let's talk about that. So I think what we're talking about is getting overwhelmed. And I think what we're talking about is making sure good systems are in place and making sure you can control the pipeline, right? So let's talk about those 3 things. And if there's anything else you want to talk about that I'm missing, we can do that. Okay. So the first thing is know that when you're first starting out is when it's the hardest, because you're going to develop the muscle and you're going to get better at it. So newsletters, let's take that for an example, because I do a ton of newsletters for people. I don't write them. I just, put them in MailChimp and the website and all that other stuff we were just talking about. So what happened, I don't know, 10 years ago, someone wanted me to do a newsletter, and I would get ready and I was nervous and I would think, okay, today I'm going to do a newsletter. This is what I'm going to do. And I would get a little anxious about it and I would do it. And it was fine, but I would overthink it and I would worry about it and I would send it to the client and I would worry about it. Now, 10 years later, I do the newsletter. Really, all of those things I just said in about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. There's no stress involved. The client's happy and we don't have to go back and forth. I don't even talk to the client. They know what I need. I know what they need. We send it, we go, boom. All right. So I can do 5 newsletters, no problem in a day. That would have put me into a coma 10 years ago. All right. So just know that it's going to get better. The second thing is you'll need to have systems in place. So you know what? On Wednesday, we're doing a weekly webinar, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the difference between productivity and busyness. So that's going to be Wednesday tomorrow at 10 a.m. So try to catch that. If you're part of VIP, the VIP club after 20, it's available for 24 hours, and then it goes into the vault for VIP where it lives forever. So that's another good reason to join us over there. All right. So you want to make sure you have good systems. And you want to make sure you don't overwhelm yourself, right? Now, when I started, I had a piece of paper, a laptop, and my phone. And you kind of don't need more than that, but you need a place to keep information that your clients are telling you. So I use Evernote. When I'm on the phone with them or on Zoom and they're telling me, can you do this? They're showing me all this stuff. I'm taking notes and I'm writing as much information as I can. The second thing is I keep my email inbox clean. I can't afford for that to become a mess because that's where work comes in as well. So I try to keep my email inbox right around 30 emails. It's really action items only in there. If it's in there, I need to do something. All right. Other than that, I'm trying to think to really start. Oh yeah. And then you need digital file storage. So you need a place to keep your files. You don't want to keep your attachments in email. You want to download them. So something like Dropbox or Drive, and have a client folder and then a folder for each client, and keep everything very well organized. Use subfolders. Most VAs are really organized. And you've got to think about this as organizing their stuff, not your stuff. Because I know my personal folder is a little bit of a mess, but my work folders are not. So really, if that helps you to think about it that way, you're taking care of their stuff. Okay. So keeping everything clean, getting, growing your systems as you need them, but not overwhelming yourself. Now, let's talk about what you do if the clients keep coming, because that has happened to me many times. And it happened to me the last time in April. Everybody went home to work. A lot of my clients didn't have any client work, but they had the money to invest in their business. And so I had, in addition to, I think it was 9 or 10 new clients in a 2-month period, which is way too much. I looking back, that was not a good move, but I wanted to help them because everybody was falling apart, and I didn't want to say, no, I can't do that. So that was kind of an intense period. But once I realized what was happening, this is what I did, and this is very effective. So people pay for my time ahead of time in 5 or 10 hour chunks. I call it the Rocket Girl debit card system. All right. So what happens is they go to my website, they buy the 5 hours, the 10 hours, and then we get started. When I have had too much work, and if you're good at this and you do, you let everybody know on a continuous basis what you're doing and you stay in touch with them, this will happen to you more than once, and it's a good thing. So what I would say is, I would love to work with you. I have time to get started in 2 weeks. If you'd like to buy your debit card today or tomorrow, maybe I'd say that, I will hold the spot because I'm only taking one more client next month. Right? That's what you say. So that's a way to manage the flow. The other thing that is important to know, and this is really important, this happens all the time. So I'll have a client, they come flying into my inbox on Monday. I'm going to do a newsletter. I'm really excited. You'll have it tomorrow night. Tomorrow night comes, I don't have it. The next morning, you know what? Something happened. I don't have time to do it. I had a woman come in. I could tell you 50,000 stories just like that. So from time to time, you will have to put in extra time. You will have to take some deep breaths and try to prioritize and really just, I have days where I'm like, I have 20 deadlines. I need to hit them all. Nobody talk to me, put on some music and get to business and do the things I have to do. Like the newsletter has to go out, but I could put it on the website tomorrow, or we could do social media tomorrow, but do the things that you actually have to do when that happens. But just know that if you remain calm, you'll be able to handle it. If you are overwhelmed and things need to move because you can't get it done, because that happens sometimes too, life happens, just communicate with the clients. Say, I realize that we said I would do this tonight. Something happened. You don't have to don't go into a lot of detail. You can just say, my daughter injured her arm, or, I'm not feeling well. Don't go into a lot of detail and say, I can do this tomorrow. I apologize for the delay. I blah, blah, blah. But don't fall on your sword, just take care of it. Okay. Cause it's business. All right. So if I missed anything on that question, let me know. Okay. What do you use for organizing clients' emails? There's a million of them out there. I use a system that I don't recommend it. I'm looking for a new one for a client right now. But the reason I don't recommend it, they've been purchased. I've been using it for 10 years. They have an affiliate program because I did like it so much. Probably 7 years ago, I have a free account. It's $70 a month, which I think is way too expensive, but all my stuff's in there and I have no reason to move. I'm not tripping over it. It's not bothering me, but I don't recommend it. Some of the more popular CRMs, there's one I'm looking at right now. Let me just look. I have it open in a tab because I want to look at it more deeply. It's called Cloze, CLOZE.com. And I've had a few people tell me that they like it. Also, another one that's popular is Copper. I think that used to be Prosper Work. The key is to think about what you need to do with it and keep it really simple. I used Outlook for a million years. The reason I got a CRM is because I don't like how I use Google now, paid Google, and I don't like how Google Contacts works. It just doesn't feel comfortable to me. So check out Cloze or Copper. Get the free download. If they have a sales team, sometimes these CRMs have a sales team. What you can do is make a list of what you want it to do. Like you want to be able to tag, you want to be able to send an email, you want it to be connected to your email. What are the things that are deal breakers, and then get the sales guy on for a demo. A lot of times they'll have a demo and ask your questions. And that way you don't have to spend hours researching. You just get the guy on the phone, or the woman, and they will, they'll answer them. And you can probably know in 10 minutes, if you hit a deal breaker, and then you're done and you just move on. All right. All right. Good. I'm glad you've enjoyed the VIP club. I love it. Okay. And this, I think, is the comment to, I will watch. I'm set up on HoneyBook, but not using it. All right. So that, I think, is a comment to something I said. Someone uses Dropbox. Dropbox is what I use too. I like it. And there's something now, it's called selective sync. So for example, on my laptop, I don't need all the files that I need on my desktop. So you can, per device, if you download Dropbox, the application to your computer, you can decide which information is going to be on which computer, which is great because on my laptop, I don't need all of the photographs of Emily's life. I don't need all my videos. There's a lot of things that I don't need, but I do want them on my desktop, or I might be working on a project with photos, so I want them all on my hard drive. But then when I'm finished, I might want to save them back up to the cloud. So Dropbox is fabulous. Okay. And I think this is also a comment back about too many clients. Yeah, I totally know. And a lot of us have kids. When I started this business, Emily was 9, and and a lot of us now, she's away at college, so I have a lot of freedom, but in terms of my time, but with kids home, it can be tricky. And when you've got a lot of information, coming at you all at once. But I think, growing your business, just try to stretch a little bit. Cause I think that's how the way that I think of it is, something new will come on and I sort of open my shoulders and stretch and think, okay, I got this, walk through it, get it under your belt, and then we're a little bigger. I think that's with everything in life, but definitely being a business owner, because it's if you've had a job for a long time, these are totally different skills. It's not the same thing, right? Okay. I have not worked with Google Streak, but I'm going to Google it right now. What is Google Streak? I'm just looking. I have 3 screens, and I'm looking. Manage your deals, support queue. What is Google Streak? It's a premier G Suite integrated CRM, manage sales, customer relationships directly. So it sounds like a third-party application that you pay for, and you connect it to your Gmail, and it looks like per user for personal account is free, and professional is $59 if you pay by the month. So definitely look at that. And if you want to add any more comments about Google Streak, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right, guys, what other questions do you have? I know it takes a second. There's kind of a little bit of a delay. I like that you have the problem of having too many clients. That's, I have a class, it's called the Launchpad, and it's a step-by-step 12-week program on how to start, scale, grow your VA business. And right now there are, I think we're on, let's see, what's today? We're in week 5. We're on week 5 this week. And what's happened is the participants have all gotten really clear on that one sentence that I mentioned earlier in this stream, and how to talk about their work. And what they're finding is they're getting hired. So the more that you talk about what you do, and the clearer you are in that the way that you talk about it, the faster it will happen. Okay, here we go. So it's kind of cool. So this is Google Streak. You can create pipelines for to-do lists. Wow, I was just curious if you've ever experienced using it. I haven't. Wow, pipelines for to-do lists. That's pretty cool. So the way that I manage is Evernote. I do have project management software as well. I use Teamwork. I've used Asana and I've used Basecamp. Teamwork is my favorite. A lot of people like Trello. You just have to find the tool that you're comfortable in, you can afford it, and that it sort of follows the way that you think of things. So Teamwork for me does that. It's very clear to me. It was a struggle at first, and a client said, we're using it. And I was like, okay, we're using it. And I worked for her 10 hours a week. So I needed to figure it out. And we were doing pretty big launches, and all the steps were in the launch. And it was my job to get all the steps of the launch into Teamwork. And then we built a template, and we kept using that, over and over for each launch. And it was kind of a big deal. But she liked it. And once I broke through the barrier of being frustrated by it, I started using it and liking it a lot. So it says with Streak, you can track when people see your message, mail merge, create snippet emails. Teams can use it together. Yeah, definitely, guys, check that out. That sounds super cool. So my CRM I can track when people see my message and do mail merges as well. So that is a nice way to do it. So every Monday I send my clients an email telling them how much time they have on their debit card, and I do it with Contactually, with a mail merge. I upload a spreadsheet that has time, how much time left, their email address, expiration date, all of that, and it goes out in a mail merge. And I schedule that on Friday or on Sunday, and then it goes out at 10 o'clock, 10:30 every Monday morning. All right, cool. So Joe, you never seem to take a day off. I know. What do you do? What do you need, or when you need to promise yourself a set number of days? The hubby is concerned. Working for myself, I'll only take what I see as essential, holidays or emergencies, rather than pick those extra pick-me-up days, long weekends we all take from time to time to use up our annual leave allowance from a regular role. That's a good question. Okay. So what I want you to realize is that you are seeing me pursuing two different things. Rocket Girl, well, first we'll talk about the VA connection. Teaching people how to be VAs using online marketing and social media is a completely different animal than running a virtual assistant business. So you are seeing me all the time, in the groups. Now, some of that is there is a little automation, like with the social media posts, but for the most part, that's how this kind of business works. And I have a full-time VA who's helping me with a lot of the details. So even though it might appear like I'm working all the time, and it might appear to people in my family as well, I actually do take time off. Now, Rocket Girl, so my VA business where I have 43 or 45 clients, I can manage that during the week and take weekends off. When I want to work on my business and I have all that billable time, that's not as easy. So sometimes I'll do that in the evening, or if like Greg plays paddle on Saturday mornings and Emily's away at college. So what I'll do is I'll take a couple hours on Saturday morning, because it's relaxing to me to make sure everything's all set. I don't do client work. I just get my business ready for the next week. But you can definitely do it. You can definitely control when you're working and when you're not, and set boundaries with clients. My clients don't ever expect me to work on the weekend. And I am able to stop at night. Generally, I stop at about 6 o'clock when I let the chickens out. Or yesterday, it's 30 minutes before sunset, so that's going to get her earlier throughout the winter. But just keep in mind that you're seeing me do two things, not just one thing, and that my client work is much more manageable, and I set the deadlines myself. So I hope that answers the question. Yeah, it is easy to get sucked up in it. It is, but you don't have to. And I think your husband is really smart Because probably, I mean, you're wearing your wedding dress right there. I don't know how long you've been married, but he doesn't want to lose you, right? He doesn't want you to get sucked up by all your clients and not have him as a priority, that's lovely, that he wants to spend time with you. So do make sure that you put those boundaries in place. And then also, sometimes I'll take 2 hours off. So let me say one more thing about that. Know what your number is, okay? And I did a webinar a couple weeks ago. It's called Do the Math, and I did a newsletter too. And so that's in the blog on the VA connection just 2 weeks ago, I think. So what you want to do is figure out. I'm going to just take this down. You're going to want to figure out how much money you want to make. Then you want to figure out how many hours you want to work. And then you're going to figure out how much you need to charge to do that. Now, you can do that a couple different ways. You can say, I want to charge $40 an hour. I want to work 20 hours a week. I'm going to work 52 weeks a year. And then how much money that is. In order to, and then you'll know when you're done. So for me to hit my financial revenue target, I need to bill between 35 and 37 hours a week at Rocket Girl. So what I do is when I am in my seat, I am strictly billable. I am not fooling around. I'm doing one client's work, for an hour, 2 hours, or a day, however you have your business structured, it's really very different. And then what happens is I stop, maybe take a lap, go outside for a minute, and then move on to the next thing and stay billable. That is a transition that has to happen when you're moving from tracking your time to having a job, because I was very productive at work, but that's different from tracking your time and being billable and being responsible to clients about how much time something is taking, right? And that becomes more comfortable over time as well. But figure that out and watch, if you're using Toggle, watch Toggle. And if you're committed to billing 20 hours, you'll know when you're done. If you have that work consistently, you'll know when you can bring on a new client. It's not easy in that there's a formula for how much money you're going to make and how much you need to work to get there, how much you need to bill. But there's not a formula for when to take on a new client, because I had a client who was using me, 5-6 hours a week, and then he's not. Now he's using me maybe 2 hours a week, which is that's financially very different. So you just never know. And that's why I like to have a lot of clients who are sort of like buzzing in and out with smaller projects, because it feels safer to me. But it is more distracting to do it that way. So I hope that is helpful. But do the math, you guys, really know what your number is. Because with just a glance at Toggle, I know every single week, did I hit the target, and what is going to happen at the end of the year based on how many hours I build. Because unless I burn through those hours that people are buying, they're not going to buy more. And that's how my revenue comes in. So we have like a couple more minutes. Are there any more questions? This has been so much fun. I'm going to do a little plug while I see if there's any more questions. So for those of you who do not know, we're on Instagram now. And that just happened a week ago. And we're having a contest. So if you don't know about the contest, here's how it works. Go over to Instagram, go to the virtual assistant connection, and follow us. That's all you have to do. And then you're going to be entered to win a drawing. And the drawing is for 2 different prizes every single day. The first one is free 30-minute strategy session with me. We'll talk about anything you want. We'll talk about, your business, pricing, how to get clients, an application, whatever you want to talk about. And I record it, so you have access to it, so you can listen to it again. Because I know sometimes, people have a lot of questions and it's hard to remember everything. So you'll have a recording of that. The other thing is a $25 Amazon gift card. The drawings started yesterday. We had yesterday's and today. So we're having Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So there'll be 6 more winners. And then on Saturday, we're going to have a drawing. I mentioned this to you, for the VIP club. So that's a $420 value for the year for $35 a month. And I've already explained all the juicy, cool things that happen over in the VIP club. So that drawing is going to be Saturday at 11. So easy peasy. Just go follow us on Instagram and you will be entered. And the drawings are at different times. Tomorrow's drawing, I just looked it up. Let me see what time the drawing is. Tomorrow, the drawing is 5 o'clock. It's at 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. So you can watch live, or we post it who the winners are everywhere. And it's a lot of fun. All right, we have another comment. Great. It's Prime Day starting today. What is Prime Day? Prime Day. I love Google. Prime Day is an annual event just for the members of Prime. Oh, October deliver. Okay, so thank you. It's Prime Day. Who knew? All right. So Prime Day is an annual event just for Prime members on October 13th and 14th, delivering incredible savings on products from small businesses. Okay, guys. So that's awesome. She or he says, it's like Black Friday for Amazon. Okay, Amazon Prime. Boom. That's great. I had no idea. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So I'm going to check that out for sure. For sure. One of the best days of the year. And here I am right in the middle of it. Thank goodness we had this live today, or I would have no idea. You guys are awesome. So today is the day where you can go get your 3 monitors. You can get your monitor stand. You can upgrade your software, whatever, get your new desk chair. Very exciting. Oh, Christmas shopping. I am going to think about that. We have mostly, Emily's 19 and everybody else is older than that. So they're in the zone of kind of being junior adults or adults. And it's harder to shop for them. It was so much easier when they were kids, I think. Right? So, all right, well, I'm going to check that out because also Greg's birthday is coming up in less than a month. So I have all kinds of shopping to do. Awesome. Okay, so you guys, it looks like we're all set here. I don't see any more comments. I'll just wait for another minute because there is a delay and have my tea is still warm. Okay. So good. Thank you. I'm going to come back over here and help us on Instagram. Follow us. We're going to have a lot of great content over there. It's going to have a different feel, but I think the community, different feel than Facebook because it is a different place, but we're going to have IGTV. I'll be doing regular stories. We're going to have all kinds of inspirational quotes, and it's mostly dedicated, though, to education. I'm really committed to helping educate virtual assistants all over the world, and Instagram is going to be a really fabulous platform for that. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on Instagram and in the Facebook group. Bye.